Hey class, this is Edgar Cuellar-Rubio. I'll be introducing Chapter 7 in Ramachandran's Phantoms in the Brain, titled The Sound of One Hand Clapping. So I'm going to begin by asking one simple question. What is the sound of one hand clapping? So this question stems from a famous philosophical riddle. And perhaps we have just found the answer to this in Chapter 7, where Ramachandran asks one of his clients, Mrs. Dodds, if she can clap. So he asks her, Mrs. Dodds, can you clap? And she says, yes, why, of course. Yes, I can clap. So then Ramachandran asks her, well, Mrs. Dodds, can you clap for me? And she says yes. And so when she proceeds to make the clapping movements, Ramachandran quickly realizes that there's something wrong here. You see, Mrs. Dodds has just suffered a stroke in her right cerebral hemisphere, which has left her left arm paralyzed. So when Mrs. Dodds is trying to complete this task, she is only moving her right hand. So she's sitting there, moving her right hand, and stopping here at the midline, as if her left hand is actually moving with her, and producing the desired clap sound, which would be something like this. So you might wonder why this is happening. How is this possible? That a person who's paralyzed on their whole left side of their body is completing a task in a way that is only possible by two hands, by both hands operating under the same rules, as if so, like this. So not only has a stroke rendered Mrs. Dodds immobile on her left side, it has also brought upon this other condition known as anosognosia, which literally means lack of knowledge, so lack of insight into one's illness or deficit. So I think it's important to give you the textbook definition of anosognosia. And here it is right here. So anosognosia is generally and comprehensively defined as a disorder in which a patient affected by a brain dysfunction does not recognize the presence or appreciate the severity of deficits in sensory, perceptual, motor, affective, or cognitive functioning. And the term anosognosia is most frequently used to refer only to the unawareness of sensory motor deficits following brain injury. These individuals deny their deficit, overestimate their capabilities, and claim that they can perform bimanual, bipedal tasks just like any other normal person. But quite frankly, it is impossible due to the condition. What's also interesting is that they'll come up with bizarre stories defending their statements. So, such as, "Oh, doc, I'm not feeling it today. Let's say, the neurologist asks them, "Oh, can you touch your nose? Can you touch my nose with your right hand?" And they'll proceed to do so. But if the doctor asks, "Can you touch my nose with your left arm?" their paralyzed arm, they'll come up with some confabulation, some story, fabricated story saying, "Just not feeling it today, doc. It's a little bit sore today. I'll just pass on that today." And what's also interesting is that there's no, despite the evidence to the contrary, there's no catastrophic reaction by these individuals, such as, they just don't break down. There's no overreaction after all this evidence is brought upon to them and brought up to their awareness. It's just they don't believe it. They kind of come off as hubris in a way, kind of arrogant almost. I think it's important to note, though, that these patients are completely lucid, as Ramachandran would say. They're sane individuals, yet they claim that their paralyzed arm is moving, and there are different dozens of theories proposed to try to explain this phenomena, and they can be broken down into two categories. One, there's a Freudian psychoanalytic view, and of course there's a neurological view. So you're probably wondering, what are the prevalence rates for anosognosia? And quite frankly, empirical studies have reported wide-ranging frequencies of anosognosia in hemiplegic patients. Actually, hemiplegic stroke patients. Here I have an article that states that in 1986, the prevalence rate was between 33 to 50% in stroke victims. I have another article here that in the early 2000s, that number ranged from 10 to 17%. And this could be due to many factors. Some important ones are probably there's different the diagnostic criteria was different, and also something very important is that the differences in the time since stroke. Here I have an article that states that in 2004 they found prevalence rates ranging from 20 to 44%, depending upon the time elapsed since the brain injury. And actually, in fact, several authors have noted that there is progressive recovery of anosognosia for hemiplegia following stroke within the first 3 months, actually, and making recovery more probable in the acute phase than in the chronic phase. Yeah, so there's still a lot of questions to be answered concerning anosognosia, such as what are the causes, what are the neuroanatomical structures involved, what type of treatment, what's the best type of treatment for these individuals, and ultimately diagnostic models. How do we diagnose it more efficiently? This is very important because, as I talked about earlier, there's a wide range of frequency in the prevalence rate. And I know this is a very brief introduction to this very complex phenomena, but my group members will go into depth on the neuroanatomical structures and also the treatments that are out there for anosognosia. And hopefully we'll all get a better understanding of this phenomena on Monday. So thanks for watching, guys. See you in class.